Hmm. Wonder where Richard is. Richard. Oh, Richard. Hmm. Man, he's late to work.
Hey, come on, Annie. We can't be late for class. We'll be getting in trouble. Come on in. Good morning, everybody. This is Richard back at you. So excited to be here. Oh, we're definitely excited. Annie, you excited to be here? It's time to get to work. We got Jack's 03 Tahoe in the house all the way from Oklahoma City. It has no second gear, third gear's burn up. It's got a mass airflow sensor code. Tranny's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Now this is a two-wheel drive, that's what's nice about it. Makes it a little bit easier on me getting it out, definitely. Four-wheel drives, the one we did for the gentleman in Kansas, the old transfer case was a little heavy, huh, Teresa?
I'm feeling it.
You're feeling it. But anyway, 4.8 liter, two-wheel drive, quite a few miles on it. I think it was 200, 243, something like that, really high mileage. But the gentleman tows a little camper with it. Him and his wife go traveling and stuff like that. And he knows he's trying to get hot week. So it had a mass airflow sensor code. It had an EVAP code. And it had a TCC solenoid stuck on code. So this one here had a lot more codes than our other one did. But anyway, it still, even though the other one was a 5.3, this is a 4.8, it still had a TMBX torque converter. Factory stall, nothing great. We're not going to let it drain this time. I'm going to kind of keep it up there. But the fluid's really dark. Now we do have a nice B and I torque converter sitting here at TMBX. We'll go right back in it for us. Guys really support us a lot. But anyway, let's get this thing apart. Trying to make these videos as short as possible because it really takes a long time to download them. Kind of crazy here. Now this thing did have a yoke leaking around the little weep hole. So this little seal right in here is probably pretty hard. I mean, it's square actually. I could probably break it. Nope, can't break it, shocking, but it's really square cut. Yoke slides in here, that way the oil can't get back inside where the weep hole is and spit oil out of it. But this seal is really bad and hard, so I never want to leave this off. We get them in here all the time with this off, we put them back on there. They do make two different lengths. They make a shorty and a long, so you got to really watch what you're doing there too. So let's see, where am I going to go with this one? Now we do have our output speed sensor too. Now in our transfer case, we had an input speed sensor for the front drive shaft, and then we had two output speed sensors too. So one's for the speedometer, one's for like your auto track. That way it brings on your four-wheel drive automatically. So get this bell off here. Try to keep it quiet. Trying to adjust the mic, all that type of stuff. So this is going to be basically our third video that we're publicizing. Now we're going to be putting a lot of parts in this thing too, waiting on them to come in. I got some of them here already. Now we usually put a Corvette servo in a lot of these, but not every application gets one. Corvette servos can cause clunks. They can cause all kinds of problems and stuff like that. So you got to really be careful. Now Corvette servo, what did I do with it? I put it up already. I put them up. I didn't get it out. But anyway, you can also buy a Sonex fourth gear servo piston and cup here. Gives it a lot more apply pressure. You can put your Corvette servo in here. Gives it a lot more intermediate pressure. A lot better third gear too. So you just got to be careful. Sometimes when you put them in, you can have customer complaints and stuff like that with them. Teresa, did we got any fluid in the connector this morning?
Let me see.
It looks really dry to me. Really dry, huh? So, of course, we got a lockup O-ring here. It looks pretty hard and flattened out too. It really ain't round anymore. You know, that could be leaking. Pretty soft too. It broke really easy.
Broke easy.
Yeah, it's not round anymore. It's flat on the places where it's supposed to be sealing at. So. Hope everybody's enjoying the videos. We're having a good time.
Was that a long ride?
It's kind of chilly this morning out there. It really was. Annie was shivering too time we got over here. But I could have been late if I wasn't on the golf cart this morning, see. But all these O-rings, when they come in too, they're flattened out. They're round when you put them on, but if you look at that thing, it's flat as a board. And that's why they'll leak. So you always want to put a new one on, put some silicone around there, put it back in there. That way you kind of double seal it. If it ever leaks here, you'd be really mad builder. Have to pull it back out just because it leaks on that boat. And we have our speedometer reluctor right here for our sensor. Kind of pop that out really quick. A lot of these have metal all over them on the ends of them, but this goes and rides in here just like this. So actually it sits like that. But you also got to watch here. I don't know why these things flare out real bad. You can get a plastic one that doesn't do it, but the brass ones do that, and you can see it'll slowly flare out enough, it'll start touching that thing. It's like a magnet, so it sticks to it. See? So I guess the magnet's just such a good draw on that brass. Is so thin right there, it just slowly pulls it that way. Fluid looks really bad. We haven't had the pan off because actually we got the drain out for once. Please tell us in the comments if we're doing good or bad on which direction we're going with the mics. That way we can get that adjusted right off the bat. We test and test. It sounds good.
It does.
Try not to be so trigger happy. How's that sound?
How about don't speak while you're using it, because that's going to be a big complaint. Ooh. It's a little thick, too.
Now, he did not service this one before they brought it in. It does have a gasket on it, like from O'Reilly's or something like that. It's that rubber ones that we don't like at all. But if he did service it, it got pretty bad pretty quick.
It's a little stinky.
So it's pretty nasty. The filter's really bad too. We always give our customers a filter, if they're from out of state, we give them a new filter and a pan gasket to take with them. That way they can have it serviced at the time we recommend having it serviced. That way they don't have to pay anything to get that, to have it the right filter. We don't want somebody to put the wrong filter on it. So.
And we see that a lot.
And we see that a lot. You always got to take this little clip here on your PWM solenoid, both with modulating out. That way you can get to these bolts right here and get your regular lockup solenoid out of there. Now, I couldn't find my injector tester that works to test these solenoids that I want to show you, how we can test these. I'm still looking for that in the Move. And we have our detent spring and roller tip. I talked about cutting the tip off here and adding another spring to it. Gives it a lot firmer shifter. Won't jump out of fourth in rough terrain and stuff like that. I wonder if I can get an impact muffler. That sounds pretty cool.
Never heard of an impact muffler.
Never heard of it? Neither have I. I've actually stuck foam up in here before and tried to calm it down. Worked for a little bit, then it just finally blows it out. But we have our accumulator here, our intermediate. I always want to work on that thing, man. That thing there is always a problem. I guess that one's not the right one. There's another one. I think they could have put one right there too, don't you, Teresa?
I do too.
Looks like a room. We could switch over to electric too, guys, on the table. If that's something we need to do too, that might be a good thing to comment on. If you like the air over the electric, right, Teresa?
Well, yeah, you opened up a can of worms there.
Yeah, I hear you, but still, we'd like to know. Now, there's multiple size and lengths bolts here. There's all 10 millimeters and 8 millimeter heads, but there's definitely different lengths in them, so you got to be really careful there. Of course, you have your pillow switch here that tells the computer that it made the shifts. Of course, we have our beautiful valve body. I want to talk about something really quick. Anytime we replace the pressure control solenoid, we always give this little screw right here an eighth of a turn. You want to hold the solenoid and give that little screw an eighth of a turn. About that much right there on every one of them. You'll be a happy camper when you do it because sometimes you can get a slight bump when you put a new solenoid on there, and all you need to do is just add just a little bit of pressure to it, and that slight bump will go away. So I like to do it right off the bat, that way I'm not have to drop the pan. To drop in the pan, that's one thing I hate to do. Of course, we have our 3-2 kick down solenoid here. We have our lockup PWM valve and stuff here, which this will probably be the easy one to block. Now we do have, I talked about this on the other video too. You can see the wear here on the aluminum plug. You can flip it over, no wear at all. You can put it back in that way, or you can buy Sonex plugs with O-rings on them. That really seal it even better. Get that out of there. Drop, yeah, there it comes. But this makes lockup really nice. Now we've learned though, if you use a triple disc converter on one of these and you block this valve right here, you better be prepared for lockup to come on, because it's really rough. So we leave a PWM on all of our multi-clutch ones unless it's some type of crazy racing application. And then we just drop a check ball in here, put some grease in it, put the spring back in. Just remember the little end goes in first. We've had them come in with the valves in the wrong way like that, and it don't work right. Lockup's really soft and faint, and I mean everything like that, so you don't want to do that. See what type of forward accumulator piston we have here. Oops, excuse me, Tracy. Of course, we have a plastic piston. You can always see it always piles trash up on the bottom of the piston. The way it sets in here like this and moves back and forth, there's always going to be a lot of trash on the bottom. So you really want to look in here good for any wear on the bottom of the bore. And then Scotch-Brite this up really good. And then put you a nice aluminum piston back in there, billet piston. Always leave and never mess with the spring or anything like that. I've never blocked the spring. I've never done anything crazy there. So, you know what I did though? I don't have all my magnets on my cart. But anyway, all of our check balls are still in their locations. You want to look for plate wear, anywhere there's a check ball seat at. Just kind of roll them off onto the table. Throw them in the pan. How's that sound? I'm going to pull this gasket back a little bit. Now I'm going to show you where you can add some oil pressure to the clutches and bands on here to feed the clutches and bands for a firmer shift and stuff like that. Now here's your 1-2 shift right here. You can enlarge that. Your 2-3 shift right here, you can enlarge that. And your 4th gear shift here, you can enlarge that. You can get on Sonex's webpage. They show you the same thing, and they give you whole size differences and stuff like that. So, but if you have any wear in this plate, you need to repair it. Because see, you can see here this ball is almost beat all the way through the case. Now in this area here, even with a new plate, we always go back with a rubber ball. But just remember, round hole, square hole. Now your overhaul kit that come in yesterday, it come with 2 sets of valve body gaskets. So you got to really watch it out. They look almost identical, but right in this area right here, you're going to see differences. So you want to look at that. One had a white stripe. The other one had, I believe, had an orange stripe going this way. I already put them up in my collection. So You always just want to look for that type of stuff. And then your 4th gear accumulator here. Always look for wear. Chunk the old spring away. Stack it up like I've always showed you in my other videos. Now we do have a solenoid stuck on code, so it's going to be this solenoid here that's going to be stuck on. You clean it up and see if the ball rattles or whatever in here, but we're putting a new wiring harness anyway. Just saying, if you ain't got the money for a wiring harness and you want to just change the solenoid, harness not leaking, you can clip this off. Fit All does sell you a new solenoid that you can wire into this harness right here. So that way you don't have to buy a complete unit, but we don't want no issues, so we'll just put a whole harness on there. They're not that badly priced, are they, Tricia? Park linkage. I always turn the shaft, and why I turn it, if you'll watch here, when I turn it, it locks it into park. Then I can move this out of the way, and then I can get in here and get to this top bolt right here. And we have to do it the same way, putting it back together. If not, you'll cross thread this bolt right here. So you always want to make sure you do that. No input speed sensor yet. I guess the later versions, maybe in the months, they started putting input speed sensors in here. So, but luckily so far, no input speed sensor. So.
Now this is like a 3 of 03.
Oh, it's an early, huh? That's why. Mm-hmm. That's why Raymond at TransStar sent me 2 wiring harnesses to match it up to make sure we got the right ones. That's one thing good about TransStar. They know their stuff. And Raymond over there, if I make a mistake, he'll grab me and say, "This is what we need to do." I say, "Oh, Raymond, you know, I've been messing or dealing parts with Raymond for 35 years probably. I mean, a very, very long time." Now on the pump stator body right here, you always want to look for wear right in this area. This all through here looks always really nice, but if you start getting right through here, look how it changed color. Right through here, see that? If I wipe the oil off of it, see if I have a closer rag, and you'll see that wear right there. It's not wear, it's just that the pump slide pushes really hard on it right there. Can you see how it's black right there? Mm-hmm. Looks really nice here, no wear or anything like that. You can always scotch brite that up. Now we do always put a slight film of sealant through here. This is your vent circuit out of the tranny, and you have line pressure right through here. So we always try to put just a fine coat right through here. That way we know we can never get a leak. We flat file every one of our bodies before we put them together because it's really easy to lay them over and just put a tiny nick out here on the edge, and that edge, that nick will keep it up just enough to leak. So you always want to flat file everything. Let's see if we still have a 2-ring pressure regulator valve like we did on our 4-wheel drive. See if they changed anything from a 2-wheel drive to a 4-wheel drive. Turn that if I can get in there. Come on. I didn't get my glasses out and I should have got them out. You know what, Teresa?
Yeah.
I hate that. Come on. It's right on the verge of coming out, but come on. And these are good snap ring pliers too.
It's just because you ain't got no eyeballs on.
Oh no, there it goes. Well,
there it is.
Okay.
Hit me in the arm.
We've got so many cores and stuff like that. We got this stuff laying around everywhere. But I'll leave it on the floor too because you ain't picking it up with a pair of gloves. So just leave it there for right now. Of course, we have our pressure regulator valve. You know, we got a steel valve. You very seldom ever see any wear in the bore there like your 6080s and 6090s. Of course, we have a 2-ringer still and a 2-wheel drive and a 4-wheel drive, so didn't change anything there from the factory. You can change it yourself. You can put a higher boost valve in them, but if I see a lot of long distance towing and stuff like that, I don't like to put a too big of a boost valve in there, because of the fact is they're 3/4 on the floor half the time, and your pressure's always up really high, and it's just eating on all your sealing rings like crazy. 2-spring pump slide. Now they make a stronger pump slide spring you can put in here too, that lets it pick up a lot more fluid, keeps the slide back a lot longer. I'm going to try to pull that out that way, but that didn't work for me. Now we do have stainless rings from the factory, which our pump kit that we get from Transtar has them too. So anytime you high pressure or anything like that, you don't want to put a steel ring in there. It's about grabbing about half the pump gear, about like our 4-wheel drive was. That's why we always take and put a washer in there. Try to get that in there at least 3/4 of the way. Stabilizes that a lot better. Look at that, barely catches that. Mm-hmm. If you put that a 500 boost valve in this thing and you bump the pressure up tremendously, you're going to wear the teeth out right here really bad. Because if you notice your converter, it's got a small chamfer right here even. See? So it might be grabbing there, but it's got really close to that ramp. And then of course I was talking about on the pump side, I wish I don't have a rag close by. I'm going to wipe this off and show you what I'm talking about, how it pushes really hard on this pump slide. You can see here, not much force being put here, but look how much force is being put here and through here. Mm-hmm. See, so you always want to check your pin too and make sure it's not really messed up. Come on, let's have a lot of metal inside. This stuff's hard to get apart and stuff. You can kind of see wear right here starting to occur. See it right there? Mm-hmm. Anytime you get wear like that, this pump slide is able to do a lot of this. It just don't keep it stable like it's supposed to. So the pump body looks really nice. You got your front seal retainer. You always want to glue it on. We always glue our front seals on. Make sure you drive your bushing out that direction, because you have a lip in here that keeps the bushing from coming this direction. If you knock it out that direction, you're going to bust the pump right through here. So never do that. Of course, you got your little spring right here that sits down in here for your pivot pin. The 6080s and 6090s, the spring physically clips onto the pin, so it makes it a lot nicer.
No way.
They learned something, I guess, from me. That ain't good. Let me get my band out of there, because my drum's not wanting to come out. So, that's not good. I'm going to pull it a little bit of this way and try to get my knee up on there. Ah, there we go. Believe me, we've had to get more violent than that. I'm taking some of these trannies apart. But okay, we have our second gear band. I mean, the lining's still there. You can see a lot of blistering going on. Some little pockets where it's starting to blister the band. Through here, you can see where trash got in it. Start grinding on it a little bit. Our drum is probably still in pretty good shape. You can see the slippage marks on it, but I don't feel anything. We'll put a straight edge across this in 4 or 5 different areas and make sure there's no dip, because our wide band is going to cover this whole drum. And you can see here where a narrow band only stops here, and it stops about right here. So the wide band will cover the whole drum here. You have your reverse clutch, your wave plate. Just remember the wave tip always goes to the center. Pretty simple. Now you always want to make sure if you're changing this drum, they make a square hole and a round hole. You want to make sure you get the right one. Aluminum piston. There you go there. On the last one, I showed you how you can air check this and make sure that you're not leaking around the shaft here. Try to blow this and get that out of there. Well, I'm probably not going to be able to show you on this one. I don't want to make the video like 5 miles long. Ah, there it goes. I thought that air would have pulled that out of there. There it goes. But anyway, I'll take some oil, kind of drop it down in there like that. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to slowly blow in this hole. And I'm going to see if there's any type of bubbles come out of there, through there. Looks good there. We're going to go to the next one. We're going to blow it in there. Still sealing. This one will blow sometimes all the way through, I think, one of them does. Look at that. Nice and tight, no bubbles around the shaft right there. So that tells me there we don't have to pull the shaft out, seal it, or anything like that. And that wasn't the cause of the tranny burning up. So, but we're going to get over here and look at our 3/4 clutch. Get it out of here. By the way, I found my screwdrivers, guys. Somebody was commenting on sending me some new ones. Even got my lucky green. But, okay, if you take this backing plate off right here, look at this 3/4 clutch. There's almost no teeth left. So that tells me there that, you know, he pulls a big trailer, stuff like that. There's a lot of load on this clutch. So hopefully the trailer ain't too big for the truck. It does have tow haul on it, but it's a 4/8 too, so you got to remember that. Now we're going to put a ton of clutches in this drum. Steels are all warped up. Now that clutch there is down to the metal. Mm-hmm. So a lot of them are like that. Now these backing, or the apply plate right here, excuse me, you always want to check it and make sure it's not bowed. Always check it. That thing looks brand new, but if I go over and put it on a flat surface, it could be bowed and you can't even tell it. So you want to always check that. Same way with your top hat. The kit we have will come with top hats and a plate, but you always want to check that stuff. It actually comes with a new snap ring too, a different thickness snap ring, so you can set your clearances. You always want to check this bearing. This bearing here can sound like a pump whine because it'll make it in park and neutral. So you always want to check that one really good. I just noticed this too here. You can see here where we're starting to get a little bit of bite on the reverse clutch. Steels do that, so see it all the way around. So you got to look. We're going to put a new drum in it, new steels and everything too. So we're going to tighten all that up. So we have our forward clutch, or excuse me, our engine brake clutch here, our forward clutch here. Now you notice the steel does go against the wave. Then you have a clutch. You never put a clutch against the wave on the later versions. So, gotta be careful with that. Of course, we have our forward sprag assembly. Feels good, but I guarantee it's got the brass style washers and stuff in it that causes all kind of damage to your hubs and stuff. See that right there? Mm-hmm. Always eats it up. This washer here, you can actually set it back in here and it usually locks right into like a groove, see? I mean, you can't move it, it just locks into a groove. It's made its own groove. This one never does that on this side. I guess it's just a lot harder metal and your hub's a lot softer. Sonex sells a really nice one of these. You always want to check here your inner race surface for any chattering, anything like that. Same, you want to look at your gears for any pitting. Your outer race the same way. Check it really good. Now we're going to get down in here. Look at the old beautiful 4-pinion Planet. Your overhaul kit will come with a new snap ring right here. So if you lose it or anything like that, Transtar does supply a snap ring in the overhaul kit. Of course, we do have still a factory hardened shell, it looks like, still no wear on the splines or anything like that. But you do want to look here and here, the same way here in the drum where these shells run. You'll start seeing wear like that drum right there. See that wear? Mm-hmm. Some of them come in here just, I mean, a quarter of an inch of it gone. They just have a little sharp edge out here on the ends. So you always want to check that. Of course, your roller bearing clutch hub, we replace all of these too. Hey, look at the wear. You can just see it.
Oh, yeah.
On both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Now they do make an A and a B, like I was telling you on the last video. This one right here is centered by the bearing of the Planet. This one here, say, it won't work because some of the Planets doesn't center the bearing like this one does. So you got to be really careful there. Make sure you get the right one. They make an A and a B. The A and the B is the last part number of the part number. Last number of the part number, excuse me. You want to look at your ring gear here for any wear. You never really ever see any wear on the outer edge where your 3/4 clutch runs or anything like that. So. And then you have your sun gear. I always see pitting here. You know, you have a load side and a coast side. Your coast side is your reverse side, but still you got to look at all that. Y'all stay to the end. I want to talk about something. Just kind of show you if you're a new subscriber. Your output shaft. I want to give you a little hint too here. This loop seal right here in this drum it lets the oil come out of this shaft or out of the input shaft and go back through this output shaft and lubricate all the planetary gears, right? Well, that hole right there has been moved on the early ones. So if you put an early seal in here, you can have a problem. So you just got to be really careful on where that hole and what you're doing. Especially if you start mixing parts, you go get a part off the shelf or something like that. So you want to be careful. Low reverse clutch looks really still there anyway, put it that way. For the mileage, definitely. I didn't see any signs of this unit being been into at all. So, any wobbling? Okay, there's one right there. See that?
Yeah.
This one here don't wobble. This one didn't wobble. That one there's starting to. And that one there does. So this Planet will have to be replaced. Look at the pins too, see if they're purple. You know, some of them are factory purple, but some of them will get purple just because of the bearing going bad. So we'll have to have a new Planet. You want to look at the ring gear too. When the gears start getting wobbly like that, they'll start wearing on the ring gear. We never see any wear here or anything like that. Now these will split and break, but when you start getting wobbling gears on your Planet, you want to look in here for any type of funny wear pattern, both sides, anything like that. So last things are anti-clunk spring. Kind of old famous thing there, huh? Kind of like your old 10mm socket. Don't want to lose it. But guys, I don't know if Teresa got a little capture picture of our little girl that we made for Christmas, or for Teresa one year. It's pretty neat. It's made out of all transmission parts and stuff like that. And then we actually made some more for multiple people. And some very good friends of ours at Sonex got some too. So they're very neat and really proud of making them things. But guys, don't forget to go subscribe to our channel. Richard and Teresa Educational Transmission Videos. And we are going to be changing the heading, so keep an eye out for that too. Don't forget to subscribe, push the notification bell. And Teresa, you know we love you a bunch. Thank you. Y'all have a great day.